View. Well, working with some lag time there. Hey, how's it going? Man. Woo. Glad to be here. Man, had one of those good naps. Man, and it just almost took me out. I had a nap like you wouldn't believe today. Boy, let me tell you. Let me be the one to tell you. I had one heck of a nap today. And I mean, I was almost not here. And man, okay. Anyway, let me get back to it. Hey, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Shoot, I'm sorry. I'm trying to recuperate from this crazy nap I just had. You ever just figure you're gonna nap for a second? Just for a second. Just close your eyes for a second. And it's hours later. I just figured that's just gonna get me just a little, just close my eyes a few minutes. Man, I look up, it's dark. I'm running. Oh shit, I gotta get down here. Oh boy, how y'all doing? Let me shut up. I'm tripping. How y'all doing? Hey, it's Monday, and I'm sure y'all up on all this crazy stuff that's been going on. Hey, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Hey, Marjorie Taylor Greene. How about her? Hey, what's happening, Carmen? Marjorie Taylor Greene is leaving Congress, right? That's crazy. Hey, speaking of crazy, hey, Carmen, you and Lisa, y'all here. You don't know anything that's going on? What you mean you don't know anything that's going on? You don't know anything that's going on. Tell you what, check this out. You a dog lover, you'll like this. I got a kick out of this video since you chiming in. Check this out right here. I thought hey, if there was ever a go away boy you're bothering me situation, check this out. That's a trip. That is a trip. I love it. I love it. I tell you what. It's so much crazy stuff going on today that that you just can't keep up. You just can't keep up. Can't keep up with the stuff going on. Can't keep up with the stuff that's going on. I thought that was the cutest thing I had seen in I don't know how long. But yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene is leaving. Hey, Vanessa, what's happening? Marjorie Taylor Greene is leaving Congress. The Trump administration is targeting nurses. Okay? The Trump administration is targeting nurses. How about that? If that ain't crazy. That is crazy as all get out. Excuse me a second. I'm looking for this. Look, looking for this one video to pull up later. Trump doesn't know what the. Yeah, you know what? I gathered that, but he has targeted the Department of Education to and I know this is out of Project 2025. They have decided that the Department of Education is going to strip out the professional status from all of the nurses. And I don't think Marjorie Taylor Greene is running for nothing bigger. That's one of the reasons she's leaving. I'll get back to that in a second. But this administration is trying to strip the professional status from nurses because who makes up most of the nurses? And it doesn't matter at what level you are. Women make up most of the nurses, and black women make up a lot of nurses. This is another thing to discredit women. I know there's a lot of men nurses, but the majority of nurses are women. And he wants to strip the professional status away from nurses at all levels. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? Check this out.
So Trump's government's coming for nurses now. Here's what's going on. He wants the Department of Education to declassify nursing as a professional degree, advanced practice nursing, like our CRNAs, our nurse practitioners, our masters. Why does this matter? Because nursing is one of them careers that pull you up out of poverty. Gives us a great opportunity to provide for our families and for our life. Most homeowners I know, nurses. A lot of heads of households, nurses. A lot of minority women, nurses. So declassifying us as a professional practice, you thereby limit our access to funding. So you limit a lot of women and minorities women access to further climb the socioeconomic ladder. Yes, this is why it's such a big deal, gang. You think these little insidious things don't matter? They always matter, and there's always something that happens at the end of that affects people. And these type of things will affect patients, specifically patients. I'm one nurse trying to spread the word, so if you can, make as much of an uproar as you can.
Well, that's straight out of Project 2025. That is straight out of Project 2025. They got a thing. They got a thing for women. They do not want women to hold any status whatsoever. This is marching time backwards. That's what it is. It's marching time backwards. They intend to. They intend to strip rights away, like to see Trump in the hospital. You know what? These people, they're not human beings, you know? These people are like some other form of life. It's not, these people don't seem to have any morals at all. They got this white male thing that they just intend to be in power forever. And the heck with women and minorities. You know, that's their thing. The heck with women and minorities. We're going to do everything we can. And right now, just speaking of that, right now, you got black people still supporting Trump. All of the black people he's fired out of professional positions, all of the going back in time with the contracting for the federal government. You know, they stripped out all of the minority rules for hiring and the contracting for the federal government. Stripped it all out. You know. Don't care if you don't hire no minorities whatsoever. None. Now, I used to make this very argument. I used to make this argument. Check this out. I used to make this argument that said when they put in affirmative action, there was a reason to put in affirmative action. And affirmative action was there to change the behavior of the HR department at corporations, companies and corporations. That's what affirmative action was there for, to change the behavior in human resources department. And by and large, it has been working over the years. It's been working. You're getting plenty of minorities, probably not a ton of them at the highest levels, but throughout corporations, you're getting a good number of minorities, good number of women. One thing that it did not change, okay? One thing it did not change was the face of the person that's doing the hiring. And I've always made this argument that if you take away affirmative action without changing the face of the guy that's doing the hiring, it'll go back to what it used to be. They'll go back to hiring all white because that's who's doing the hiring. That's been my argument. This administration seems to be trying to make that happen, because they're literally out there threatening companies to get rid of their affirmative action programs and DEI programs. So they're literally threatening companies to make them do this and taking away the professional status of a group of people just for the hell of it. Okay, just, who woke up and said nurses shouldn't be considered professionals? I tell you what, I'd much rather think of the nurse that's working on me as a professional, thank you. I'd much rather her feel good about what she's doing and feel comfortable and competent and paid well, because understand, once you take the professional status away, the pay is going to go down. That's the other part of that shoe. That's the other shoe that's going to hit the floor. See, that's the other shoe to drop. You take the professional status away, you also lose the pay grade. Okay? So, now, you talk about destroying healthcare. Yeah, that'll destroy healthcare. Tell me what you think. These people are hell bent on destroying the healthcare of this country. I don't get it. I don't understand why they feel like they need to destroy the healthcare of the country. I don't get it. But that's what they intend to do. Now, this guy was supposed to make some kind of announcement tonight that has something to do with the ACA's subsidies. I don't know. Apparently, the Republicans are pissed off with him, and he postponed whatever announcement he was going to make. It was probably some bullshit, whatever it was. And, that's just an opinion. If he was going to extend the subsidies, I tell you what, I was going to laugh. If that's what the announcement was going to be, I was going to laugh, because all of this went on over the last couple of months about the subsidies, while he sat there looking stupid every day. If you're going to step out now and say you're going to extend the subsidies, yeah, so there you have it. We're going to see. Next year, right at the beginning of the year, there's supposed to be some real sticker shock bills hitting the mail. So we'll find out. The hell been on destroying the country in general. Yeah. Yeah. You've been proud to be a nurse. Hey, I congratulate you. I take my hat off to you because nurses are some of the most important people I've ever met in my life. I don't know. That's a whole different kind of person, a nurse. Somebody that can do that, get up day in and day out and help folks like me with whatever hell I'm going through, only to turn around and do it again the next day in and day out. Shit. And you want to say, hey, let's strip them of their professional status. Are you fucking crazy? Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm about to go off because that when I heard it and then it was verified, because typically I don't go off of something I've heard, but it was verified for me. And I was like, oh, you just got to be kidding me. So to all the nurses out there, hey, I love you. Shoot. And whatever fight we got to get in about that, I'm game. All right? Because that's crazy. That is crazy. And I've met some great nurses. Now, there was one I didn't really care for, but that's in any field. One was kind of, I can only say not the greatest, but hey, that's, you get that everywhere. That just goes without saying. Didn't even need to mention it. But hey, in general, as far as I'm concerned, leave the nurses alone. I tell you what, let's get rid of some CEOs. How about that? Let's take the professional status away from CEOs. All right, let's do that. All the time spent in the hospital, got a whole lot of respect for the nurses. Hey, amen. Amen, Charles. I second that. I second that. And I can only hope that this administration fizzles out, because and I think it's starting to fizzle out. I think it is starting to fizzle because like I just started with this evening, Marjorie Taylor Greene is leaving. She was one of the biggest problems in Congress. She was one of the biggest problems in Congress. Now, I do not know what her plans is. What I do know is she wanted to run for senator. I believe that. I believe she wanted to run for senator. But they slapped her back on that one. They would not endorse her for senator. I do not think she's going to run for Senate or president. I don't think she is, because she has she spooked everybody. Everybody on her side is spooked because she done turned on them, and everybody on the other side don't trust her because she done turned on her side. So nobody actually trusts her. So I don't think she's actually going to run for higher ground. I think, you know what I think? I think she has made enough money that she's just going to fade to oblivion. I think she's made about $25 million doing insider trading while she was in Congress. She's retiring like 2 days after she's vested in the pension. And she was already part of a successful construction company down in Georgia. I think she's taking the money and running. That's my thoughts. I think she decided, you know what, the heck with this. I did my time. I can actually stand up here and stand for something that's for real. I can quit lying. I can tell the truth for about a month or two, go on the record as telling the truth, and then get out of Dodge. That's what I'm thinking. That's just, that's what it looks like. Because, she'd have to be a fundraising fool to run for another office. And I don't think she can raise the funds. I don't think she can raise the money like that. She doesn't have the backing of the big players, especially from the MAGA group. The MAGA group ain't gonna back her because Trump done turned his back on her. So, and she might be telling the truth about being afraid, because she might have gotten a bunch of death threats, because that's what MAGA does. When Trump turns his back on you, they start threatening your life and your family. So that might be what happened as well. So we'll see. We will see. I know one thing: his ratings, his poll numbers are in the tank. That is good. That is excellent that his poll numbers are in the tank. He seems to be starting to understand that the people, he can't bullshit the people by telling them that the prices are coming down. See, he's been telling people the prices are coming down, and nobody's going to believe that. He's got Scott Bessent running around telling people the prices are coming down. And it's like, hey, okay, the price of gas is not high as it's been. The price of eggs ain't $12 a dozen no more. But hey, that's only 2 items. It's a whole bunch of other stuff that the prices are not down. He is in the tank right now. The approval rating is low. Yeah, very low. They believe the country is going in a good. Yeah, well, see, when your head is above the clouds, you don't know any better. When your head is above the clouds, you ain't got a clue what's going on. For him to get up there and say prices are coming down, that's a person that hasn't bought anything. You're talking about a person that hasn't bought anything. He hasn't been to any store, bought shit. Okay? So, and I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if some more members of the Republican Party bailed out. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some more resignations, some more retirements, because they're looking pretty bad, especially with these healthcare bills that's coming out in January. These bills that these people are going to get in January, they're going to be rough. And once the bills come out and people start dropping their health care, remember, it'll go back to the way it used to be. Remember, people used to just go to the hospital when they got sick. They wouldn't go into the doctor, which would keep them out of the hospital. They would just wait until something awful happened and end up in the emergency room. And then they couldn't pay for it. Guess who paid for it? Medicaid paid for it. The government paid for it. it was written off. So we'll go back to that. We'll have more unhealthy people and more people in the hospitals. Oh, wait a minute. The hospitals are closing. My bad. I forgot. So we're going to have less hospitals. Well, guess what? That means crowded hospitals. That means, hey, if you hurting real bad, you may not get in the hospital. It may be full. And it's going to be mostly in rural America. It's going to be mostly in rural America. That's where the sickest of America is going to be, because the hospitals and the doctor's offices won't be there. So, come January, it's going to be a snowball that's going to start rolling downhill. Now, this announcement that he was going to make, they said something about extending subsidies. But they postponed it because the Republicans, the people who are following Project 2025, don't want to extend the subsidies. You know, there's no money for the subsidies because they gave it all to the billionaires. So, we'll see. We will see. Another thing that's happened that I do want to get in, four of the guards that attacked Robert Brooks about a year ago, 4 of the guards got sentenced. Check it out. I want to run this by you because it's important. I want to kind of keep stories out there that what follow-ups I can about what's happening with these people who are doing this dirt to these people in prisons and elsewhere. So, here we go.
Sentencing today for 4 of the officers involved in the deadly beating of inmate and Rochester native Robert Brooks.
That's what I take away from today, that Robert Jr. is resting a little easier, that his dad will be remembered.
4 former Marcy Correctional officers sentenced today for their roles in the fatal beating of inmate Robert Brooks. Good afternoon, I'm Matt Malloy.
I'm Karen Edwards. Brooks, a Rochester native, had just been transferred to Marcy in December of last year when the beating was caught on body camera video. 13 WHAM's Carly Miner joins us now with more. Carly.
Yeah, Matt, Karen, the body camera video captured officers punching, kicking, and grabbing Brooks by the neck. He died the next day. Today, 4 of those COs were led away in handcuffs. Nearly a year after 43-year-old Robert Brooks died following a beating at the hands of several officers at Marcy Correctional, 4 of the defendants are heading to prison. Brooks, who was from Greece, was serving a 12-year sentence for assault and scheduled for release next year when the attack happened.
I've never seen so many lives destroyed in a moment.
Anthony Farina and Nicholas Anzalone pleaded guilty to first-degree manslaughter and were each sentenced today to 22 years in prison. Michael Mashaw was handed a 3 to 9 year sentence, and David Walters 2 1/3 to 7 years after both pleading guilty to second-degree manslaughter. Brooks' son and brother watching from the gallery.
Having been to a couple of hundred sentences in my life, they're often bittersweet. You know, there's emotions run high. But the thing that I take away from today is looking at Robert Jr.'s face and seeing, you know, not happiness or joy, but a sense of satisfaction.
The prosecutor read a statement on behalf of Robert Brooks Jr.
I will never get my dad back. I pray your loved ones never have to endure the kind of pain I experienced. All of this could have been avoided if you and your fellow officers just did your job. My dad would be alive.
The defendants did not address the court before being led away in handcuffs. District Attorney William Fitzpatrick hopes this case sends a message.
Got to be significant, serious, substantive changes to the way we treat incarcerated individuals, period.
And in January, another former officer, Michael Fisher, is scheduled to go on trial for manslaughter. If he's convicted, he faces a sentence up to 15 years in prison. Matt?
just wanted to make sure we stayed up on stuff like that because they treated Mr. Brooks terrible, and they deserve to go to prison. I'm happy that they've been sentenced. 20 years, okay. Should have got life as far as I'm concerned, but, you know, that's our system. I'm cool with it. I'm glad that these guys are not in the system anymore because they seem to have had some kind of crazy-ass crew up there that was just off the chain. Just off the chain. And every time you hear a story like that, you wonder how many places is that going on in this country? How many places is that going on in this country where they just, you go into prison and they just take advantage of you because you're in prison? I guess that's a motivation for not going to prison. How many people in prison for something they didn't do? You know. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm glad that I just wanted to, while that was fresh in my mind, I wanted to get that out there. That there's something happening, you know, to get some justice for some of these people, like the young lady, the cop that killed, man, why I can't think of her name? Oh, Sandra, man, can't think of her name. Anyway, y'all know who I'm talking about. That cop, he's in jail. These COs, they in jail, okay? Led away in cuffs. Bravo, bravo. So I'm going to try and keep us abreast of those things like that. And one other thing, back to my man, Mr. Trump. I've been hearing talk of impeachment. I don't know if there'll be any impeachment. I don't know. I know one thing. I know that the man he's even been making MAGA mad, okay? He's been pissing everybody off. San Francisco just got a touchdown. You know what? I forgot it's a game on tonight. Man, I forgot. That's right, it is a game on tonight. I'll get to that in a minute. I've been hearing talk of impeachment, though. I'm going to play these two videos and probably run the length with that. Listen to what he said. Listen to what he said on Fox News. For those that didn't hear this, this was on Fox News. He was talking about bringing in people to do certain jobs and talking about how, and he was basically, and the woman that was interviewing him was trying, and I can't stand her. She was trying her best to guide him, but he ain't gonna act right. Check it out.
Horrible things this man has said. This is the one thing that is making everybody, they have been dragging him on Twitter for like 2 days.
The Republicans have to talk about it.
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we have plenty of talented people
here.
No, you don't. We don't have talented people here?
No, you don't have. You don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles, or I'm going to put
How did we ever do it before?
Well, let me
When you and I were
I'll give you an
growing up.
example. In Georgia, they raided because they wanted illegal immigrants out. They had people from South Korea that made
Hyundai.
batteries all their lives. You know, making batteries are very complicated. It's not an easy thing. It's very dangerous. A lot of explosions, a lot of problems. They had like 500 or 600 people, early stages, to make batteries and to teach people how to do it. Well, they wanted them to get out of the country. You're going to need that, Laura. I mean, I know you and I disagree on this. You can't just say a country's coming in, going to invest $10 billion to build a plant, and going to take people off an unemployment line who haven't worked in 5 years, and they're going to start making missiles. It doesn't work that way.
Now, understand what you just heard. You just heard him arguing for the people that got took out of the plants down in Georgia when it was his ICE people that raided the plant and took them out of the plant. It was his ICE people that raided the plant and they got deported back to South Korea. And he's arguing that we need those people. Now, Laura Ingraham, I'm no fan of, but she said one thing that's very important. She said, how did we do it back when we was coming up? Where did we get the talent from then? See, what he did not want to say was the people were trained here. They have no intention of training people here. It costs money to train people. They want to get people that's been trained in another country and bring them here and throw them right into the job. They don't want to train all them hicks running around in Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi. See, they telling all of those people, we going to get rid of the brown foreigners so you can get better jobs. Yeah, that better job is you out there picking the fruit, you out there picking beans, you out there picking whatever need to be picked. That's your better job. You're not getting this battery factory job. We're going to bring people that's been trained in another country in to work them high-paying jobs. See? That's what he's telling. And that's where he's starting to lose support. They're finally starting to get pissed because they're realizing, wait a minute. You mean I can't get that factory job that pay that good money? No, you can't get that factory job. We setting up a nice job for you out in the field, out in that hot ass field. That's what we setting up a job for you. We got these H-1B visas we handing out all over the world for those jobs. And he literally said that to Laura Ingraham on Fox News. You got to be really stupid if you sat there and listened to that and was not offended. If you sat there and listened to that, you love Fox News and you MAGA. If you sat there and listened to that, you got to be some other kind of stupid. Okay? You got to be some other kind of stupid. Because he literally said, no, we don't have any talent here. You can't take somebody that's been on unemployment and put them in the factory to do these highly skilled jobs. He just said it outright. This job ain't for you. You sit back and wait on that check that we gonna take from you. We gonna take that check and them food stamps from you. We working on that. Yeah, if you supporting this dude, the one thing they're definitely not talking about is training nobody. You don't hear them talk about training anybody at all. Nobody at all. Oh, that's right. They getting rid of the Department of Education. Forgot about that. They getting rid of the Department of Education. Oh, and guess what else just happened? Doge. Doge has just disappeared. As of now, there's no such thing as Doge anymore. You know, the Department of Government Efficiency. You know, the guy that was running around in everybody's files, them guys that was firing everybody they saw, that is officially gone now. And it wasn't very efficient, and it cost us millions of dollars. Okay? Cost us millions and millions of dollars, damaged the hell out of the system that we have. All they did was put a lot of people out of work. That's it. So, will there be any impeachment? Will there be a stomach for impeachment? Well, there is talk of it. There is talk of it. I would love to see. I would love to know if we start to hear it. They'll probably not talk about it during the campaign season. They'll probably not talk about it. They'll probably only talk about this if and when the Democrats actually have a majority in the Congress. That is the House of Representatives. I don't know if they're going to win anything in the Senate this go around. I don't think there's very many Republican senators up for re-election. But there has been conversations about impeachment. And we're about to listen to one. Check it out.
Good morning, everyone. The framers were clear. The framers were clear. There would be no monarchs, no tyrants who would govern this nation, no kings in America. They set out to establish 3 co-equal branches of government. Article 1 for the United States Congress, Article 2 for the presidency, and Article 3 for the judiciary. 3 co-equal branches of government, no kings in America. But they set up an extra guardrail for that day when a president would so trample on the Constitution, so trample on the rule of law, that president would need to be impeached and removed from public office. Section 4 of Article 2, the impeachment clause. We have reached that moment today. Donald Trump has committed multiple abuses of power since assuming the oath of office. And as Jessica said at impeachtrumpagain.org, we have been documenting in detail these abuses of power, 25 distinct grounds for impeaching and removing this lawless president. Disappearing people from the streets and sending them to foreign torture prisons. An abuse of power, an impeachable offense. Detaining and removing unlawfully U.S. residents without due process of law. An abuse of power, an impeachable offense. Creating treason and levying treason against the people of the United States. Sending the military into our nation's cities against its people. An abuse of power, an impeachable offense. Attacking the United States Congress, usurping its authority to appropriate money. Congress, under Article 1, has the power to appropriate funds. This president goes ahead and freezes trillions of dollars of duly appropriated funds enacted by the United States Congress. An abuse of power, an impeachable offense. defying multiple court orders issued by federal courts all across the country, attacking the United States judiciary, an abuse of power, an impeachable offense, pardoning 1,500 plus insurrectionists for an insurrection that he incited on January 6, 2021 to try to stop the peaceful transfer of power, an abuse of power, an impeachable offense, engaging in rampant corruption in the White House, treating the Oval Office as a profit-making enterprise at the public expense, violating the domestic and foreign emoluments clauses of the United States Constitution, an abuse of power, an impeachable offense, engaging in unlawful bombings of people in the Caribbean, in the Pacific, with no congressional authorization, extrajudicial killings, an abuse of power, an impeachable offense, engaging in misusing the Justice Department, the FBI, to go after his perceived enemies, the sham indictment of James Comey, the sham indictment of Letitia James, an abuse of power, an impeachable offense. The list goes on. The list goes on, and yet I know there are people who will say, now is not the time to talk about impeachment. To that claim, number one, we either have a constitution or we don't. We either have an impeachment clause or we don't. If we're not going to invoke the impeachment power at this critical hour for our nation, then we might as well say we're giving up.
There you go. There you go. I don't know. I don't know if, I'm pretty sure if the Democrats get control, and you know what? I got a feeling it may be a good chance if enough Republicans resign in the near future before the next election. I'm getting the feeling there's a few of them, especially, hey, I'm with you, Carmen, especially since a lot of them, are getting flack because of the Epstein thing. There's a lot of Republicans getting flack. Hey, Ronnie, how you doing? And what will they do about it? That's a good question. We'll see. But a lot of Republicans are getting a whole lot of threats and stuff about voting for that Epstein thing. See? Because there's a lot of MAGA people that didn't want that Epstein stuff to be voted for. So it's a lot of, a lot of them that didn't vote for it or wasn't going to vote for it. They catching hell. See? They getting the threats. So there may be some more resignations. And if they get enough resignations, Mike Johnson might get kicked out of his position before the next campaign season even come around. So we'll see. Let's hope. Let's hope. Now the question is, what will happen if they get control of the House? Will they impeach him? They probably will. The only problem is what will happen in the Senate. Will they have the guts in the Senate to vote for the impeachment? To vote to judge him guilty. You have the trial. They file charges. That's how an impeachment goes. For those that don't know, when you're impeached, the House votes to impeach the president or whoever is being impeached. The House votes on articles of impeachment. These are high crimes and misdemeanors that the president is accused of committing. Now, we know this president has committed countless and abundance number of high crimes and misdemeanors since being back. We're not even counting the ones he was charged with the previous 2 impeachments. Since he's been back, there has been countless high crimes and misdemeanors committed by this president, i.e., especially one killing people on the high seas, maybe? Do they need 50 infractions for impeachment? 25. Why didn't something happen at 5? Well, there's no stomach for impeaching him right now. The House is run by the Republicans. The Republicans are not going to impeach him. The majority in the House is Republican. The majority has to be a majority of people who are willing to vote for impeachment. Okay? There's not enough numbers. There's not enough Democrats to do it. There would need to be a bunch of defections on the Republican side, or there would need to be a good number of resignations on the Republican side. The Republicans right now have a 218 to 214 majority. I believe that's the numbers. There are some vacancies right now. Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to be another vacancy when Marjorie Taylor Greene goes. That'll be 217. If there's a special election, I want to say in Tennessee, coming up pretty soon. If the Democrat, or is that Alabama? If the Democrat wins that one, okay, that will give the Democrats one more. You see how that goes? If you can thin theirs a little and gain more on your side, the closer they get to a majority of people who are willing to vote. It doesn't have to be all Democrats. It could be, 215 Democrats and 5 Republicans. You'd have a majority then that will vote for impeachment. Once you vote for impeachment, they draw up articles you voted on. If they vote for it, those articles are sent over to the Senate. In the Senate, you have a trial. That's where the actual trial goes on. And if he's convicted, he would be convicted and thrown out of office. Impeaching him is just charging him with crimes. That's what impeachment means. Impeachment means you are just charging him with high crimes and misdemeanors. Then he goes on trial in the Senate. And as you could recall, you should be able to recall, the last time he was on trial in the Senate, Mitch McConnell would not allow there to be a trial worth a damn. They wouldn't allow any witnesses to be called. It was the biggest sham you ever seen. Thank you, Mitch McConnell. Thank you for where we are today. You old jackass, you. So, it will then go to the Senate for a trial, and we'll find out what'll happen this time. I hope and pray that there are enough Republicans right now that are sick and tired. I hope there are enough Republicans that have just gotten enough, that they're willing to say, all right, we just got to go ahead and get rid of this guy. We'll see. We'll see what happens. You would think that they would be tired by now. You would think, do you know how hard it is to run a country, to govern a country, to be a U.S. senator or a U.S. representative? It is not easy. First of all, you literally need to be spending all your time fundraising for the next campaign. That's where you need to be spending all of your time the way it is today, since they got so much money in politics. That's most of your time. Now, imagine you had to do that. And on top of it, keep jumping through all of these hoops every day to protect this jackass that just intends to enrich himself all day, every day. This jackass just wants to enrich himself all day. All he wants is more for him. Give me more, give me more, give me more. More money. I want more gold shit around the White House. I want this big old ballroom thingy that I think everybody on the project just got fired for some reason. I'm hearing that he just fired everybody on the project for some reason. I don't know why. You tell me. But that's going to be crazy. So jumping through hoops to take care of this guy, jumping through hoops to make sure he's satisfied with what you're doing. Could you imagine how stressful that is? Could you imagine how stressful it's got to be worried that his supporter is going to show up and shoot you one day? Or like what happened to old Rand Paul down in his house in Kentucky. One of them fools showed up while he was mowing the lawn and whooped his ass. Could you imagine being worried about that? Could you imagine being worried about that while trying to govern? And we know they're not doing any governing. You know, that's the governing part is the part that's falling by the wayside. You know, they're trying to fundraise and they're trying to satisfy Trump. Hopefully they've gotten to a point where they're tired of this guy. It is crazy. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm stressed being a citizen. Yeah. I feel you. Me too. Hey, I'm going to be part of the Me Too movement on that one. Okay. But I tell you one thing that is happening that we seems to be holding right now is the judges. The judges are still holding up. The judges are still fighting this battle for us. They standing in the way pretty good. I tell you what, that shutdown slowed him up real good. Y'all know that, right? Y'all know that shutdown slowed him up real good. See, when there's no money flowing, he can't do all the stuff he wanted to do. He couldn't get rid of all the people he wanted to get rid of. Project 2025, Russell Vogt, he couldn't do all the stuff he wanted to do while the government shut down. See, they was blowing a lot of smoke. So you take that. That's postponed a lot of shit. And the judges are still there. They're still in place. And they're still thwarting him. As you may have heard today, the James Comey and Letitia James case got tossed today. Both of those cases got tossed out today. Because Donald Trump, they illegally put a prosecutor in the system, and that prosecutor happens to be incompetent as hell and ruined the case, which is okay. I guess James Comey happy about that, and Letitia James, they happy about that, you know. So the judges, there are judges still in place that's fighting the good fight, you know, for the country. So, of course, as far as Comey was concerned, you know, I think he was getting what he deserved. But anyway, at least that case is over with for him. And Letitia James, you know, the case she had, it was nothing, a big nothing burger in the first place. That was just malicious prosecution. That case wasn't going anywhere for anything. So, all right. So anyway, we'll see. We'll sit back and watch. I want to see when the new year comes in. I want to see if we got any more resignations out of Congress. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Keep watching to see if there's any more resignations. That's going to be interesting. All right. So that's all I got this evening. Thanks for hanging out with me. If there's something either of you want to mention, feel free. I will hang for a second. I did think it was good that they dropped those cases this evening because, you know, this guy just prosecuting people for the hell of it. Just being a bastard just because he can. And old Pam Bondi looking dumber and dumber every day for they put this prosecutor in it. Here's a lawyer who has never tried a case in court. Here's a lawyer who has never prosecuted anybody or anything for any reason. And she comes in on these high-profile cases. The situation was so bad that none of the other prosecutors would put their signature on it, would even touch it. They literally resigned their positions instead of getting on this case. Must stink to high heaven. Must stink to high heaven. So anyway, I appreciate y'all for hanging out. Stay safe, stay prayed up. And I'm going to go up here and catch some football. I'll see y'all later. Take it easy.